Welcome back to this discussion on fitness and health, especially in this holiday season where we are discussing about ways to keep fit and why you need to remember to adopt this lifestyle of keeping fit. And we've been joined by Dr. Janet Githinji, who's a wellness enthusiast, and she's also an obstetrician gynecologist. We also have Arnold Mose, who is a strength coach, and Collins Adika, who is a fitness instructor and a fitness nutritionist. And I'll start with you, Arnold. I know your journey to fitness was informed by a medical issue. Can you just tell us that in brief?
Okay, basically I'm asthmatic, and my asthma was diagnosed when I was in class 5. So that time I realized that I could not be able to do what normal kids were used to. I could not play with the other kids for long. Every time I was indoors if it was raining. So from now that time that my asthma was so bad, I was supposed to join the army like my dad as a fashion designer. I'm a trained tailor, like they say. So I didn't manage to endure the physical fitness test for anybody who would like to join the army. So I quit. But that moment when I quit, I realized that when I was doing my morning run, I could be able to sleep. So that one is the time I realized, okay, if I can be able to sleep, then this thing is good. So out of that, I managed to enroll to a fitness school called Allison Caroline Institute. From there, then I got to understand this what happened to my lungs, this is what happened that I no longer use an inhaler. So that is the transition from asthma, tailor, to strength coach.
Yes. Dr. You also have a story on how you became a wellness enthusiast, and you have actually made strides from certain kilos to now where you are.
Yeah, that's true. I had always been fit, but I was fit by default, not necessarily by design. Seeing as when we were young, when we were in our 20s, we could, go to school, and in the evening, on Fridays, we would go out and we would dance and we would eat fries the following day without missing a beat, and we'd do all these things, and at the end of the day, we would be fit without realizing that we are actually being fit, because you'd eat all these bad things or these forbidden things and then go and burn them all on a dance floor, and before you know it, the cycle goes on and on. But later on, as life went by and you get children and you get into third floor, I call it third floor, and your metabolism begins to be, not as fast as it used to be, you realize you can get away with a lot of things. So for me, I have 2 sons, and they're 3 years apart. So I think I added quite some bit of weight within my first pregnancy, around up to 22 kilos. And then after that, when I started weaning the baby, I didn't immediately engage into fitness because I was quite busy with my postgraduate training. By the time I got the second baby, I had gone up to around 86, 87 kg. And it so happens that when you wake up every morning, you want to try on something you used to wear, suddenly it no longer closes. The zip doesn't go up, or the button doesn't quite fit right. You're scared of exhaling, or, that would be the problem. And you start noticing that something is changing over the years. But my turning point for me, as funny as it is, it was a moment I was outside our estate gate, and there was this tout whom I had blocked the matatu. So that tout just told me, "Madhe, songesha hii gari yako, unazuia." And I couldn't believe that I actually looked like a Madhe enough to actually be called a Madhe at my tender age, which I would So that after that, basically, all the compounding factors now took me down this physical route.
Yes. Okay. And, so you started being a wellness enthusiast or a fitness enthusiast to lose weight, and that's one of the many reasons why people engage in fitness or go to the gym. Collins,
yes.
Is that the only reason why people should be going to the gym, or is that the only reason why people should be maintaining or keeping an exercise regime?
Not really. See, apparently in our country right now, fitness is picking up, like it has grown to a certain level. But, it needs to grow even further. And so it needs to be a part of our day-to-day lives. Yeah, and exercise should be for staying healthy, and not only just losing weight, Yeah, but also, you know, building your self-esteem, you know, and, you know, building your immune system as well, you know, yeah, just to stay healthy and, you know, avoid lifestyle diseases. Because sadly, so many deaths currently are caused by lifestyle diseases, and these are things that we can avoid.
Okay. And you're also a fitness nutritionist, and one of the many things people ask him is that, who is a fitness nutritionist? What do they do?
All right. So, as the name suggests, a fitness nutritionist normally advises people on how to, you know, to check your diet, yeah, for you to be fit. You get? Yeah, so like if you're trying to lose weight, there's a very specific diet you're supposed to do in order to achieve the same. If you're trying to gain weight, the same. Yeah, if you're a bodybuilder, very different diets. So a fitness nutritionist will take you through all that in accordance to your objectives.
Okay. And Dr. Kvinch, you've mentioned one of the main reasons, or one of the main issues many women grapple with, and that's adding weight during pregnancy and during the childbearing period, and trying to lose that weight. And it's actually quite a big issue with many women. And coincidentally, you deal with a lot of women.
Yes.
How should people go about gaining weight in pregnancy or losing it even after they have delivered?
Well, it all begins with a pre-pregnancy weight. The first clinic that any pregnant woman will come to, the very baseline tests that will be done, one of them is the weight and the height. The basal metabolic index, which we call as a mnemonic BMI, is a measure of your weight divided by your height in meters squared. And that figure, your height at this point post-puberty won't change, but the weight is what makes the BMI keep changing. So you'll find that levels of 18 to 25 would be the most ideal BMI. Levels between 25 to 30, you're classified as overweight. Levels above 30, you're classified as obese class 1. Then levels above 40, then you're now morbidly obese. So at the pregnancy stage, you will be classified based on your height and your weight. And this ideally will inform how much weight someone is meant to add. You'll find that if you're within a normal BMI, you could add up to even, say, 11 kilos, which is still, I mean, it could be a range, but the mean would be around 11 kilos, which is acceptable. If your BMI is overweight, you're already past 25 kilograms per meter squared, ideally you should add maybe up to 7 kilos. If you're grossly underweight, then you're allowed to add even up to 18 kg. But that is in the books and in literature, and even as the doctor will tell you. Then there's the myth, the African myth, where you're asked to eat for 2. So you eat your plate, you put it aside, then you start eating for the baby. Before you realize, your weight just shoots up. And it also poses so many risks for that mother on her own and also for the sake of the baby. They're at risk of getting gestational diabetes, which is diabetes whose onset is within the pregnancy. They can be at risk of hypertension, and also with, you know, leaking of protein in the urine, a condition which we term as PET. You can also be at risk of, you know, now when you have those two, you could actually now be at risk of strokes, you could be at risks of clots, you could be at risks of having a heart attack. There could be an increased risk for having a cesarean section done on you. On the child, there could even be a risk of stillbirth. In fact, the risk of stillbirth would actually be almost twice as much in a morbidly obese lady than one who's, you know, within the acceptable weight standards. So pregnancy and obesity are interlinked and they're not complementing each other.
Okay. And Arnold, so can pregnant women exercise while they're pregnant? Is it safe for women to exercise during pregnancy?
Now, the word is safe, and that brings you to at what stage of pregnancy is whoever would like to exercise is, like Dr. is saying. Basically, I take exercise as a progressive way of attaining any goal that you need. So, for example, before you even get pregnant, There are some people who say like, okay, I like to get pregnant in the next 3 months. So in the next 3 months, you're supposed now to say, okay, I would like to be physically fit after the pregnancy. So there's some people who are actually, the good time to start is before. So that now, because you're able to do more strenuous movements than when you're going to be pregnant. And then the first 3 months of your pregnancy, there's some exercise that you can do. So as the pregnancy is getting, the period is getting longer, there's something that you can do. So by the time you're like 6 months pregnant, the best thing that you can do is just have basic movements. And the best thing that we advise our clients is walk and swim.
So is it safe for the mothers or the pregnant women, the expectant women to do this?
Ideally, and also to add on what he's saying, the key word here is to be safe. So I absolutely agree with the issue surrounding safety. Strain is relative because you see, even as you get pregnant and the belly grows, the back muscles are also getting pushed because the center of gravity is shifting since the belly is moving forward. So it's shifting this woman, and even her spine is curving in a different way. So at that point, I wouldn't expect a pregnant woman at 7 months or 8 months when her gravity has shifted to be lifting 40-kilo deadlifts. It's not safe. She could have been able to be doing it before. She's probably able to even do it well after. But during pregnancy, the exercises that are done should be tailored towards the safety of the mother, the safety of the unborn child, and just basically her general well-being. That's the most important thing.
And at what point after delivery should they start exercising?
Well, ideally it's as soon as they're comfortable. There's a period which we call the puerperium, which is 6 weeks after the delivery, whether be it a regular delivery or an operative delivery, like a cesarean. So 6 weeks is usually the marker where we say that this is the period where we take care of this mother in the state of immediate post-delivery. Some literature is talking about after 6 weeks, a woman can start very light things like, walking. They can take their baby down a stroller or walk a dog or things like that. Then by around 8 weeks, they might begin to incorporate a little bit more basic things. They might not immediately delve into things that engage the core, simply because the core is usually weak at the point of having delivered, especially even because the muscles of the ones that actually form the cubes, the rectus muscles, they tend to widen during pregnancy in an effort to accommodate the growing belly. That condition is called diastasis recti. So you'll find that immediately after delivery, the muscles are still a little bit loose. So they need to incorporate core workouts very gently, and then as they graduate, to make their core stronger. So it's a question of just getting into the shallow end of a pool as you graduate towards the deep, not just jumping into the deep
end.
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things that Collins had mentioned about nutrition is also people who want, I know we've dealt a lot about people who want to lose weight, but there are people who are actually coming to the gym to add weight. So what specifics do you give these people? Let's say I've come to you to the gym and I want to add a little bit of weight. What advice do you give?
Right. So basically, if you're trying to put on weight, maybe you've been underweight, you need to take plenty of carbohydrates compared to your proteins, but you shouldn't necessarily scrap off the other nutrients that you get from food. You also need fruits in plenty. You need water. You need, green leafy vegetables. But now, ideally, for a person who's trying to gain weight, you need to put on more carbohydrates into your diet. And, the consistency of these meals should also, become even more frequent. Yeah. So in the course of the day, you just have your portions. You have your portions, but you make them consistent. Yes.
But some people may say, carbohydrates are the problem when it comes to obesity and weight gain, that you should have them in moderated portions. Yet here you're saying for me to add weight, I'll have to take a lot of carbohydrates. Wouldn't that then be adding more fat or adding, putting somebody at risk of gaining more weight, and now they'll get to the other problem of trying to lose it.
All right. Now, you see, when you're taking these carbohydrates, at the first place, there's some pointers you need to check out for. First of all, at what time are you taking them? What kind of carbohydrates are you taking? You see, if you want to put on, if you want to take quality carbohydrates, then you need to go for, you know, the good meals that our African meals, you know. Go for whole grain, you know, if it's bread, whole grain bread, you know, the oats, very rich in fiber, okay? After 5 p.m., you know, this is a time where after a day's work or, you know, after a day full of activity, you've grown tired. And so, you know, your metabolism is slightly low. It's slightly low compared to in the course of the day. So after 5 p.m., you don't go for, you know, big portions. And, you know, before you sleep, you make sure you check out your meals. Like now, okay, you've been taking carbohydrates in the course of the day. If you don't want to put on fat, then you take carbohydrates before, like 2 hours before you sleep. So this way, at least your body is able to, you know, metabolize a meal. And, you know, eventually you're not going to put on fats, excess fat, okay? But the only way to put on weight, like, you know, quality weight, you can couple up strength training, because you see, when you're training your muscles and, you know, you're growing muscle has got weight. So you're going to put on weight, and at the same time you're eating a high calorie diet, but, you know, in a very watchful manner.
Okay. And you've talked about strength, and it comes back to you, Arnold. You're a strength coach. Combine the exercise regimes and this diet. Will I put on the right weight?
Actually, but most of the time,
The correct weight. Let me say the correct weight.
I like to use, I don't like to use the word weight, because weight is the biggest word. I like to break down at what point do you want to add, let's say, muscle, because what you are looking for is to reduce fat. And the Daktari here can second, when you're doing an evaluation, you are told is either your fat percentage is high, or your water percentage is low, or your muscle percentage is low. And as a strength coach, if you take care of your muscle, everything else falls into place. So for me, when I said I was 64 kgs, now if you look at me, you can guess how much I weigh. And I'm able to do stuff that I never used to do, even when I was weighing 64. So I've never, for me, I say weight is not the problem. Is what can you do with your weight? I give an example of rugby players. These guys are 120 kgs, 100 kgs. But get someone else who is 40 kgs and can't take stairs. So the whole concept of weight comes down to how much fat percentage do you have against the muscle. So as a strength coach, the moment you strength train, as Coach Collins is saying, muscle is a growing tissue. The moment you feed it and you break it down, it will come up as the best weight that you need, which is called lean weight, lean muscle.
Okay. And, well, people, from talking to some of the gyms, people, seasonal exercisers, let me call it, where I'm told people want to exercise just before the holiday begins because, you know, they want to go to a beach somewhere and they want to look good. Okay, yeah, this may not be the right way for people to do this. Then what should they do to make sure this is a constant lifestyle? And I start with you, Dr. Githinji, because you have basically adopted this as a daily routine. It's almost part of your life.
Okay. Rome was not built in a day. That's the first thing I must say to anybody who believes in any quick fix, because it also took a significant amount of time to pile that weight. It also didn't pile in a day or a week. It piled over a gradual period of time up to a point when you realized, oh my God, all of a sudden, I'm big. But it is a constant repetition of a certain direction. So it's the thing to do is to reverse the tangent, and it also has to take the very same process. So this, we've seen a lot of things even on social media where you're told you need to take a certain type of detox for 5 days or 10 days, and you lose all the weight, and you'll believe you'll go to the beach and everything will be all sorted out. That doesn't work, to be honest, because even if you lose, you're only losing water weight, which comprises of 70% of all of us anyway. But shortly after, it all comes back. You have been in a position where you've been starving yourself for those 10 days, just taking water and juice. Then when you start eating, because your body had gone into a starving mode, it now stores everything now you give it after, lest you starve it again. So you end up actually gaining all the weight back. It has to be issues surrounding consistency. As Coach had said here, issues of fitness culture. We are now in a fitness culture where it's not just about weight loss. It is now about endurance and making it, sorry about that. It's about endurance and ensuring that through and through, this is a way of life. That way you will lose your weight without even having it as the thing you needed to do. You will learn about strength training, which is a type of exercise I had never really started, but today I'm so happy. I can see weights and I just want to lift anything. You can lift things that were never hard to lift. You can throw your baby up in the air and he's 10 kilos, and before you'd only lift him twice and put him down and look for something else to do. But now you can play with them. So it's a very important thing to want to incorporate strength, cardio, and then make it a habit. Make it your lifestyle. Incorporate it the way you take tea, the way you shower. Make sure you also put exercise as well.
Okay. Collins,
Yes.
your comments on the periodic and the seasonal fitness regimes and exercising by many people because they want to achieve a certain thing at a certain time.
Yeah. Now, especially right now during these festivities, people tend to assume a culture where you have to overeat, and and you're like, you know what, let me just put on weight, and one of my New Year's resolutions will be to cut down the same weight. So I would advise that you stick to your objectives, and in the long run, get to understand that your health comes first. Festivities come and go, and it's not like I'm trying to insinuate that, you should, just fast during the festive season and just, basically, enjoy the festive season. But remember your objectives, stick to your objectives, and maintain. Yes.
Arnold, people and being seasonal, as they said, always the New Year's resolution is to lose a certain amount of weight because, well, they've been accumulating it, not only in the festive season, but usually throughout the year.
Yes, so I run a wellness company, a consulting firm called Mofit. So the Mofit idea was to teach our clients how to make exercise a lifestyle. So with this, if the best thing for everyone is understand, why am I doing 1, 2, 3? Like Dr. has said, the moment you get to know that whatever you used to fear, for example, she used to fear weights, but now she can do that without any problem. Basically, I tell all my clients, focus on the health concept of it, whereby we focus on the strength training, we focus on the muscle endurance, cardio endurance, and flexibility. Those 4 pillars have to be taken care of at any given time. And the moment you learn how to take care of all those through exercise, you are able even to enjoy your holiday without even thinking about adding. Actually, everything that you do, only 2 things come into place. Your patience and your consistency. I tell my clients, only 2 of those things. If you don't build patience, and patience comes because you know why you're doing what you're doing. And then consistency comes because you're able to do simple stuff and then build up. With those 2 factors, you'll never be someone who wants to lose weight at a certain time. You make it a lifestyle.
Okay. Now, to just pick your final comments on some of the things you'd want people to know, especially during this festive season, 3-4 weeks of these festivities. What are some of the things that people should know or should do and adopt during this time in order to just keep fit or maintain being fit? And I'll start with you, Colin.
All right. During the festive season, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're supposed to put aside your exercise regime. First of all, in the morning, adopt a exercise schedule where you get up, you know, you can do a run, you can do a jog, you know, you can even just do some exercises at home. That's first thing. Second, if at all you're going to a party and you know all too well that you're going to eat there and there's possibility of plenty, you know, of meals and a variety of foods, make sure you leave the house with a well-fed tummy, all right? Make sure you eat healthy before you leave the house. Stay hydrated, like take sufficient amounts of water in the course of the day. Not only does water flush fats, it also flushes out toxins, so this keeps us even healthier. If you're a person who does choma regularly, I would advise go for more lean meat than fatty meats, you know, because the fats you get from, you know, these, you know, animals basically is not healthy fat, all right? Yeah, then plan your meals. Sit down, review your kind of eating, ask yourself if this is beneficial to you, and stick to a, you know, to a diet plan that is going to help you achieve your long-term objectives.
Okay. That's Harry.
For me, I feel that to go where you've never gone before, you must be willing to do what you've never done before. That's the first thing I have to say. That said, it means that you have to dig deep. It's not a one quick fix. We have a Facebook group that is being run by one of the fitness gurus also, who's up and coming and is doing very well. She's called Dr. Esther Dindi, and the Facebook page is called Fit Sisters Kenya. And one of the things that we're doing in that group is creating accountability. So it's one thing, yes, I want to lose the weight, but I also want to be accountable to somebody other than just myself. Somebody who, there are days I'll wake up and it's raining and I wanted to run and I've given myself an excuse. In the group, we actually begin with a before picture. We write down all the measurements that are there and we put them up there. Okay. We set a goal and we set a timeline. And every time we do any exercise, we're supposed to send like the equivalent of a selfie, something we call a sweat fee. So as you're dripping, completely bathed in sweat, you take that photo and you post it in the group so that it can motivate the next person who wasn't also maybe enthusiastic and also gets up and gets to do something. So the more sweat fees appear on the page, the more everybody gets, you know, motivated to move on and all of that. So it's a group that also throughout this whole year has been very good to us because we have really pushed each other, even virtually, enough to be able to know that this is the direction that we want to go. We are many of us, we come from different places, but this is our destination.
Arnold, your final comments?
Okay, basically, I'm going to talk to two kinds of people. Those people who've been working out for the last 3 months. For the last 3 months, you've been working out at least 2 days a week, and at most 3 days a week. The next 2 weeks is your rest time. So you have this time to walk and have an active rest. Those people who are planning to start to exercise as a New Year's resolution, the best thing now to do is start to do simple stuff that will be able to get your body starting come January. And the first thing is move more, take in less.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for demonstrating some of the exercises that we can do at home to keep fit this festive season. Thank you for joining us. We were discussing keeping fit this festive season. I had Arnold Mose, who's a strength coach, Dr. Janet Githinji, who's a wellness enthusiast and an obstetrician and gynecologist, and Collins Adika, who is a fitness instructor and also a fitness nutritionist. And from the panel this evening, the message is that there are no shortcuts to keeping fit. There are no shortcuts to losing weight if you're trying to do that. And in summary, they've said that Rome was not built in one day. It takes patience, it takes consistency in order to lose that weight and to keep fit. Join me again next week, and we shall be looking at nutrition and health, especially in this festive season. We shall be discussing how to eat this festive season. That's it from me today. I'm your host, Dr. Mercy Korir, and I do wish you a lovely evening.